Dragon Ball games are never gonna be good again. There, I said it. Doesn't matter whether it's Xenoverse 3 or we're talking about Sparking Zero, Dragon Ball games are never going to be good again. And I accept that now. I've been accepting that for a very long time, right? I'm the one that told everyone about Sparking Zero and the fact that it was gonna be garbage, and everything that I said about that game came to pass. And here we are again, Xenoverse 3. Same pattern, same prophecy, same inevitable outcome. And it didn't always used to be like this, right? And once upon a time, not long ago, we used to get good Dragon Ball games, but somewhere along the line, we lost the plot. And you want to know what happened? Why we lost the plot? Why Dragon Ball games fell from grace and into mediocrity? Modern Dragon Ball consumers. Because I ain't calling them fans. I refuse to call them fans. These are the people that have turned Dragon Ball fandom into Dragon Ball beggary. People who are permissive of all the misgivings, shortcomings, and inadequacies of Dragon Ball games, and why we continue to get some of the most mediocre, pathetic products that Dragon Ball games have ever produced. Not because people don't have the imagination. No. But because the developers and the rights holders, the publishing companies, they don't see a need to do better. Because they know they can squeeze these Dragon Ball beggars for a bare minimum and not have to try. So while you and me know that these companies can do better, because of these Dragon Ball beggars, we'll never get it. And you want to know what the real screwed up part is, right? These would be the same people that, despite me and numerous other people pointing out the inadequacies of Dragon Ball games, they're the first ones to defend it. When I was calling out the lack of destruction in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, when I was calling out the pathetic roster, the pathetic gameplay, you had all these Dragon Ball beggars, these Sparking Zero brain cells coming out first line defender, right? But you wanna know the funny part? After about a month of the game being out and everything I said coming to pass, these were the same people that flip-flop when they couldn't control the consensus anymore, when they couldn't tilt the conversation and control the narrative. These were the very same people that would come out on message boards, on X/Twitter, on YouTube, talking about Sparking Zero ain't it. I just don't know why. I play Sparking Zero for an hour, then I just put it down. I can't put my fingers on it. I don't know what's going on. And it's like, idiot. Everything I said was true. The story mode, the gameplay, the content, even the music was god awful. Everything I told people months before. And much like Bardock warning the Saiyans, had people heeded my warning months before the game even came out, maybe change could have been effected. Maybe the publishing company and the developers would have known that their little scam wouldn't have gotten over. But no, because Dragon Ball beggars, fake fans, grifters, they control the community and they control the narrative, and anyone that comes out in adversity against Dragon Ball, against the hive mind, they try to swarm. They don't like dissenting opinions. They don't like actual criticism or conversation. They like an echo chamber. Up until it's actually effective, right? Because when they got their game, just like a sour-faced kid on Christmas that opens the present that they've been wanting all year and they find out that it's not all it's cracked up to be, something clicked in their mind and they had to admit it. It was god awful. But it ruins it. Here's the thing. It ruins it for everyone else. Because everyone else that wanted that generational game, did they get it? No. They got it in a way that they didn't count on because it was one of the biggest failures in Dragon Ball history. Sparking Zero became the #1 game to have the biggest fall off in history. For one day, it had the highest amount of sales. What, 2 or 3 million in 24 hours? Isn't that what they touted? And almost in the same amount of time, they lost their entire player base. Mainstream notoriety, gone. Commercials, actual commercials and ads on WWE and mainstream television, gone. All that glory of the Dragon Ball brand tarnished. And all the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero D riders, they left with it. Right? And here we are again. Same pieces at play. Xenoverse 3. I'm telling you guys what it actually is. And those same people come out doing the same thing. Now you see why Dragon Ball games cannot do good anymore. Because they already know they're going to have their defenders. They're going to have their beggars, right? These same beggars who were sitting up here defending Sparking Zero. And then when you catch one of their streams, they're crying about the garbage music. They're crying about the garbage story mode. They're crying about the lack of content. They're crying about the garbage gameplay. What do they cry about? I'm losing because of the super counter. It's a luck mechanic. Be damned, all the people that were complaining about the QTE event in Ultimate Tenkaichi being a luck mechanic. Oh no, but your #1 chief defensive mechanic in Sparking Zero is a glorified luck mechanic that even outside of the massive online lag, even in regular gameplay, from what I've been told, is still a 90% failure rate. And you wonder why that game got abandoned. But the beggars defended it. They defended it. And here we are. Bandai didn't care. They got their 3 million sales. As far as they're concerned, they more than made up for what they put into the game. So they don't care about tarnishing the name of Dragon Ball. And here they are. They already know they're gonna have the same pattern of behavior. They've already factored it in. They took a title like Xenoverse, and they knew people were gonna defend it doggedly. And here they are, putting out the game, putting blood in the water, using a franchise name, knowing they're gonna get to do the same scam again. Same garbage roster. Not because they're not giving us new content, but because they're withholding legacy content that we used to get in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and Raging Blast 2. But no, they'll withhold things purposefully so they can sell them as DLC, a part of their business model. And they keep doing that year after year, game after game, console generation after console generation, and it doesn't stop. Why? Because the Dragon Ball beggars keep defending this behavior. This is why we'll never get that immersive everyone is here roster again. We'll never get that BT3 feeling of, oh, everyone I can think of is here. I don't care if they're a main character or not. I got the henchmen, I got side characters, OVA, special characters. We got everyone here. Not anymore. First thing they think of is not to give you everyone. First thing they think of is how to ration out the most basic of things. Dragon Ball Super Limit Breaking Neo selling you Tommy's Lookout, a basic stage in every Dragon Ball game, and you wonder why Dragon Ball games are garbage. What are they gonna do next year? Dragon Ball Sparking Zero Super Limit Breaking Meteor? Oh yeah, another $80 DLC where they'll finally give you Janemba's Hell from Budokai Tenkaichi 3 that should have been in that garbage base game, but they'll sell it again, proving the low IQ of the Dragon Ball Beggars. And you wonder why we don't get what we should get. And you wonder why I've taken the line of behavior of not buying Dragon Ball games anymore. You don't see me on Sparking Zero. Oh no, I told you, I'm not buying that garbage game. I don't care what they do. I'm not buying Xenoverse 3. I didn't buy Dragon Ball Z Kakarot because I knew that in order to make them stop, in order to make them change, I had to stop financially supporting them. But these other idiots, they just don't want to learn. They don't want to make the sacrifice. They don't want to do what's necessary to get better for this community. And you wonder why Dragon Ball games are becoming even more of a joke. See, before we could fight that narrative. We could say, no, Dragon Ball games are great. They're legendary. They give us what we want. It's just not your mainstream slop. But leave it to Bandai Namco to make all those negative criticisms true. Because game after game, year after year, business model after business model, they prove everyone right that games are becoming garbage for Dragon Ball. How's that Dragon Ball Sparking Zero double dip business model going, by the way? Don't give anybody anything in the base game. Come out with Super Limit Breaking Neo to give you all the basic stuff that was already coded into the basic game, but it was just hidden behind unlock keys. You idiots. Oh, get ready for the triple dip. No, not the double dip, triple dip. Because next year, or after another 15 months, they'll come out with Dragon Ball Sparking Zero Super Limit Breaking Meteor. Janemba's Hell stage added. They'll probably sprinkle in a little bit of the Moro stuff, make you feel like you got bang for your buck. Whatever movie might come out, sure. In that garbage gameplay system. Hey, by the way, did they talk about how they're gonna augment or improve the combat system to take it from garbage to actually adequate? Did they talk about that? Nah. It was all basic content that should have been in the base game. But no, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero Beggars, zero brain cells, they're still defending it even though they themselves don't play the game. If you're a real Dragon Ball fan, what you should have done was follow me. Follow my example. See, I lead by example. If you wanted Dragon Ball games to do better, you should have stopped buying Dragon Ball games. See, when they release those little crap questionnaires, you should have put on there, I don't buy Dragon Ball games because you quit putting effort in them. Sin. I quit buying Dragon Ball games because your rosters are weak, garbage, padded pieces of crap. Sin. But no, you sit there like little banging dogs and you send in these sugary love letters talking about, I would just hope that you think that we deserve putting in this basic element, maybe as DLC, begging for basic stuff that should be a given. But you feel like, no, we all need to be good little boys and earn this basic stuff. We should be grateful. These are people that if they were prisoners or slaves, working out in the hot sun, they say something like, we should be grateful that Master gave us a glass of room water in the hot sun. You should be grateful. Dragon Ball Beggars. And this is why Dragon Ball games are dead. And they'll keep dying. And they'll keep living in mediocrity, even though they have the potential to compete with Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, NBA 2K, should be right up there with Pokemon games, easily selling millions, easily having massive player bases year round, year after year. But no, they're content with scraps. And that's why Dragon Ball games are mediocre. So guys, hit that subscribe button, hit the hype button, share the video, hit it with a like. You might beat the game, but let's be honest, nobody wants to beat modern Dragon Ball games because they're all pathetic slop. And I will see you guys in the next video. Flaws Federation, we out.